everyone, and welcome back to Sunday Reads with Renee. I am Renee here at Simply Renee, and I thank you so much for tuning in. So today's entry is going to be something that was a little bit more last minute decision. I was planning to do it in a couple weeks, but I decided this week would be good for it because it's going to be more of a quick video than anything else, and it's more about contemporary reads and their importance. So today I'm going to be talking about the importance of contemporary reads. And the reason for that is because I do think that contemporary reads are essential because some of these reads are going to be seen as the classics of 20 years from now. Which ones are going to stand the test of time are still going to be seen as the highest quality. And it got me to thinking about the classic reads that we have already in our realm and our lists in our vicinity that always top the charts, even if they're 40 years old, 50, 500 years old, even, and what it exactly means. So, in terms of ones that have stood the test of time, even though it's 50, 40, even 30 years old, is a lot of them that I really enjoy. I've talked on this video, on this channel, about Jane Austen, the Bronte sisters. There's also George Orwell's 1984 and Animal Farm. There's Anne of Green Gables by Lucy M. Montgomery. There's Beloved by Toni Morrison, as well as her other book, The Bluest Eye. There's Alice Walker in The Color Purple, one of my favorites as a teenager, as well as To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. So there's a lot of great books that were written at a certain point in time that were considered contemporary reads, but are now standing the test of time as classics within their own right. One of them is also The Joy Luck Club by Amy Tam, which I really enjoy, and I'm thinking of doing a reread this fall. It got me to thinking more about the books being written and published today that are now going to be seen as classics in the future. What are the books being published 20 years ago that are now being seen as classics today? So I looked through a couple of lists that I was able to get access to without signing up for an account, and there's a good amount of them that have come into play. Some of them I don't agree with, like history books, because history is always being rewritten due to more thorough research and different perspectives. But then there are some that do stand out and are still relatable today, even though it was written 30 years ago, 20 years ago, even 5 years ago. So this is just a list of some of the ones that I want to address that I think are very interesting and can stand the test of time even years later, because I always like a reread and I always like to see, do I still feel the same way about it before? Has my opinion changed? And here are just some ideas I'd like to put here in this video. So one of the books that I found on this list is Pachinko by Min Jin Lee, which I hear is a very good book. It was very well received and has been made into, I think, an Apple TV series or at least some kind of streaming services production. I'm not really sure completely, but it was, I think, turned into a streaming service production recently. And I would like to read this one in fall, so I put that on my list. I've seen some Percival Everett ones, and as you know, I read his book James, which I think is going to be a classic even 50 years from now, and I thought it was a very well done book, and I'm planning to read a couple of his other works in the fall. One is Erasure, which was seen on one of the lists I looked up, and then there's also The Row by Cormac McCarthy, which I think was a very well done book from what I remember about 10 years ago when I read it. I think it was about 10 years ago. I'm not sure, but I think I might reread it again just to see if it still holds up well and is still a very good quality. And the other one that I noticed on there that I've never read but will read this fall is Atonement by Ian McEwan. And that I heard was a very good book. I've only seen the film version, admittedly, so I'll probably read the book, which was, I think, published in 2001 or 2002. So I actually look forward to reading that and seeing. And some of the things I've seen on this list I've already read, which is An American Marriage by Taraji Jones. And this is an excellent book, I have to say, because I really enjoyed it. I have it on my bookshelf now, and I really look forward to rereading it, even though it has a lot of dramatic, hard topics to discuss about how a marriage that wasn't always perfect does fall apart when the husband is falsely accused of a crime he did not commit, and how that all plays out in the aftermath. And it is a very well written work. It was noted on the New York Times 100 Best Books of the 21st Century so far, as well as a couple of the lists I saw. So I think that's a very great thing because I really enjoyed that book and thought it was exceptional. And the other one that I think could become a classic years later is Britt Bennett's The Vanishing Half. I've talked about that book before, but I really enjoyed it. It's well written, it has good emotions coming from it, it's a thought-provoking book, and it works extremely well. And I think that is an excellent book that is a perfect spiritual successor to Passing by Nella Lawson, which was a very good book as well. Others that I would consider classics that are going in the future are Girl on the Train, Girl on Girl, Everything I Never Told You, They're There, as well as The Rosie Project. But there's also All the Light We Cannot See and Life After Life, and I thought those were very good books that I'd like to see become classics or considered in that realm of classics someday and really enjoyed. There's also another one that I would consider a classic. I'm not sure if it's still going to be on the list anytime soon, but one I consider a classic too is How the Garcia Girls Lost Their Accents. I thought that was a very well done book when I read it last year, and if it's not considered a classic already, I hope it will be considered one sometime in the future. So this is just the quick video I put about the importance of contemporary reads, because when I think of books like George Orwell's 1984 and Animal Farm, as well as Jane Austen novels, they were contemporary reads of their days, but now they become huge classics that have stood the test of time. And I'd really like to see what contemporary reads of today will stand the test of time, the same way that Beloved has stood the test of time, along with The Color Purple and The Joy Luck Club, all written many years ago, but even now they still get you right there in the heart. They're still well-written books, along with The Bluest Eye, and I think are great ones to read. Be forewarned, too, that these books do have some topics and scenes and everything in it that are triggering and can be a little bit uneasy for some people. So be sure to read the descriptions and look into a little bit more of the depictions to make sure that you feel comfortable with these books and reading those books. So this is just the quick video I wanted to do today on contemporary reads and their importance. And I hope you do pick up a contemporary read that you can consider a classic in the future. So which ones do you think would become books in the future being published today? What will stand the test of time? What are ones that we should consider, even if they might not be classics to stand the test of time? Please be sure to mention it in the comments because I'd like to hear that. And I will be back next week with more videos and in-depth ones to really get things going too, because I would like to do more longer videos. And thanks to having a vacation coming up the 18th, I'll be able to do a little bit more that way. Thank you so much for tuning in, but please be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and click the notification bell. Please leave a comment as well of anything you'd like to say about contemporary reads or what you're reading now, and I'll see you next week. Bye!